Alright guys, here we are, Sunday, and it's nice and hot here in September, and we are going to get out and get some plots in the ground today. It is the 15th of September, and we're going to try to get some cereal grains, rescue a few plots. I think I got to coordinate with Mike a little bit today that we're going to utilize this new stealth drill by Great Plains, get out and try to rescue a few spots that maybe got less than ideal germination or over browse down here on the river farm, and then we're going to buzz down to the Last Chance farm and get those plots in the ground. So we got all kinds of seed on both Rye and I's trucks, so got a lot to get done today, and going to take a little time to try to get this thing calibrated, tuned in right. It's really dry right now. As of right now, there is just a few little scattered showers in the forecast here in the 7-day, so it's looking like it could be kind of rough. So that's why no tilling right now is going to be critical for these cereal grains to get them in the ground. So we're going to really cross our fingers on that, because if we were to till up any plots or try to broadcast just right on top of the ground right now, I'm not sure what kind of germination we'd be looking at. So I got to figure out where Mike's got the case tractor at, and then we're going to get rolling on some plots. Well, we made it down to the Last Chance farm. I'm just getting down here. I'm a little bit ahead of Rye. Rye was helping Mike with some cameras and working on a few odds and end projects down on the river farm. So I actually just got done drilling one of Mike's plots, and then I came directly down here, and I'm gonna have to wait a little bit, but I was anxious to see what this plot was gonna look like because there's a lot of thatch on it. So I was curious what I was going to be walking into today. We got this new stealth series on the Great Plains drill, and I'm anxious to see how well this is going to work, because we've been so dry here lately that we got a couple things working against us, where there's hurricanes down south that are bringing up a bunch of red dirt and dropping that on the ground. So everyone's walking around wondering what is the red dirt on their boots, because it's just dropping it from the hurricane. And then they have wildfires out west that are really drying out the atmosphere. So any rain that we might be getting, it's unfortunately been getting dried out. So we're going to come down here and get a conglomeration of a bunch of stuff. So Rye, we'll go over it when we get everything put in the drill, but I had my truck completely full of different seed that we're going to throw in here, and we're going to go really heavy on this just because we're getting so late in the year that I want to make sure that I have some type of greenery. I've been debating on whether or not I'm going to use fire to burn this off. I think it would burn. I just need to make sure that we're going to have it controlled. So he's bringing the leaf blower with him and the actual drip torch as well. But I'm going to do a quick walk around and see what I'm thinking for burning it off, because I know that if we burn off this thatch, we're going to get really good seed to soil contact with that drill while we got it down here. Get some shots too. Are you going to run the camera, or you want to do the leaf blower stuff?
Am I a land manager or a cameraman slash producer?
I honestly don't even know what your title is at this point.
Fair point. You heard it there, folks. Zach doesn't know what my title is. I do a little bit of everything. We're down at Area 52. This is not Area 52. It's the Last Chance farm. It's been a long day, been helping Mike. Yeah, yeah. Get that out of here so we can start burning. Jeez, I mean, come help a guy, and this is what you get. This is what you get. And the guy's not very good at backing up in a straight line. See, the mode path is there. Oh, I see where it's going. Okay, so that's my fault because I said that stuff there. So actually, you probably did a pretty good job. I take that back. My bad, Zach. He won't know about that till this show goes up.
So we are gonna burn off this plot. We have that new stealth drill from Great Plains, and the one thing I'm a little worried about, there's so much thatch on this plot, and we had 7-8 feet of native grasses that was on it, and it's all right on the ground. So hopefully we can just burn this off really quickly, get it done and over with, and then come through with a no-till, come right through here, and then get out of here and be back once October kicks off. That's the goal for tonight.
You're doing really good. You kind of stumbled at the end.
Yeah, what do I need to say at the end?
Nothing. Just come on, chop chop.
So what was the first step when we got down here, Ryan?
Call the safety center.
That way when we need help, they know where to come to.
Only 20 acres of grass, what could go wrong? Technically, on your video last week, you said the first step was to check your weather conditions. Did you do that today?
I did check the weather conditions. We have a southeast wind, and humidity is relatively low. I think we're at like 55%. But knowing how much thatch is on the ground, I know that this stuff's going to burn pretty hot and quick anyway. So weather's been checked, safety center's called. I did double check the wind direction while we're standing here. And we do have a lighter this time.
Let her eat.
So the thought process for where we're starting in this plot, southeast wind. So the idea is that we're gonna back burn into the wind before we light that head fire. So we talked about that a little bit last week too. If you light with that wind at its back, although it's pretty calm right now, that wind is really gonna push that fire. So we're gonna back burn. This is the most vulnerable area. Start here, keep it low and slow, let it burn away from where the fuel load is behind here. If we could get any rain at all after all this ash is soot and just sitting on the ground, it just drives that into the actual soil itself, and then you get the nice influx of P and K to go back into the soil, which can really benefit from a fertilizer perspective.
And it's cheap.
Well, free.
Kind of interesting, you can see right here, the wind was pushing that way. As soon as you light this side, it just pulls back to itself. And that's one thing with these burns, you just gotta kind of have in your head before you start. Like, just because your wind direction is one way, you light that fire, it just pulls so much oxygen out of the air, it'll turn directions on you. So that's why it's important to have that back brake, then you burn the other way. And then you can see her shoulder, that stuff is burning back towards itself and then it puts itself out. Zach does this for a living. I don't know if you guys know, but they do a lot of fire and he has a lot of experience with it. So guys like him and Mike, I get to learn a lot from. I'd never done this prior to coming to Iowa, so. Right, Zach?
If you're saying something about the extent of lighting a head fire, then absolutely, you are 100% correct. Yeah, that's definitely an example of how we would have to have water, and even how fast it creeps across the ground with that head fire like that. We wouldn't have enough water with us to get out in front of that. Definitely not putting that out with a leaf blower. Burning ring of fire. Down, down, down. Flames went fire.
Who sings that?
Johnny Cash.
All right, you better know that.
finally got to the point of the burn where we've done everything on the back burn, rounded this corner, and the leaf blower is just starting to sputter for low fuel. So before I light this head fire, Rye's gonna go grab some mixed fuel for us real quick, so that way we can make sure that we can put this out if we need to. But theoretically, that was the hard part. So now essentially what we're gonna do is just loop the rest of this, which will have the wind at its back, which is really gonna push it across here pretty quick. Which, looking over there, most of the back burn's already creeping its way across, which, depending on what you're managing, that can actually be a good tip for, you know, land management when it comes down to it. So a back burn fire is going to be low and slower, but you're going to have sustained heat for a longer period of time. So if you're managing any type of woody vegetation, or you're really trying to get a good kill off, because that's going to be a benefit of what we're doing right now too, is that since there was so much thatch, there were some areas where it came back that greened up, that after I sprayed, that I didn't get that good contact on them, on the leaves, you know, when they were coming up. So that's going to be a nice benefit of this fire too, is that, you know, for, you know, hundreds of years I've used fire as a vegetation management tool, and this is going to inevitably kind of kill those off. And then, so that'll be a nice benefit that we're getting from the fire too. And as we're standing here, we're actually starting to hear some thunder down south. So fingers crossed, maybe it'll work its way north a little bit. All right, we are just finishing up the burn. We're doing the wrap up right now, where I just walked around the perimeter just to make sure that there's not any smoke or active flames going on. We're gonna let this burn down a little bit, and the other plot is a little bit smaller, and this is gonna be a really cool side-by-side. So we're not gonna burn the other plot. We're just gonna drill directly into the thatch, and we'll see what kind of germination we get. And you know, we'll see the comparison side by side, similar soil types. So that'll be something cool to compare and contrast moving forward. But I have a feeling that this will be the one. We're gonna have really good seed to soil contact on this side. So I have a lot of faith that this is gonna be the one that's gonna have a little bit more germination than what's on the other side. So we're gonna have kind of a conglomeration of a little bit of everything for seed. We're gonna go heavy on the cereal grains. We do have one bag of one plot ASAP from Monster Buck. I'm gonna do a full rate of clover when we go through this, because I want sections of this to be a clover plot in the future. But then we also have oats, winter wheat that are included in that, and then there's a cover crop blend that's in there that has oats and some ryegrass. So a little bit of everything. We're gonna go on the heavier side on the seed rate, just to try to get as much greenery as we can going into season, because we're getting pretty late. Hurting.
See what he's got. You think he can catch the bag? I'm curious. I think he's weak. It's just gym muscles. Gym muscles. Gym muscles. See, he's struggling to pick the bag up. See what he's got. I'll hit him on the...
days left in the drill. She's bone dry.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, I'm back down on the Last Chance farm. We left the tractor down here. I need to grab the case, I need to grab the Great Plains drill and get them out of here. Mike has some projects he's wanting to get done, so I need to make sure that he's not waiting around on me. I also came down here last night because I was doing kind of some odds and end projects on different properties, and came down here to sneak a peek and see if I was getting any germination yet on this plot. And it's crazy. I mean, this is a testament to these no-till methods because it's bone dry. I mean, we've been very dry here in southern Iowa for quite some time now, and this already has germination in almost every single one of these rows. Granted, this is sitting in a creek bottom, something that's always going to retain moisture a little bit more than others, and even in the mornings, this is going to have heavy dew on it this time of the year. So, you know, this has a lot of factors going towards it, but this is going to be cool to be able to see this plot side by side with the one that we didn't burn off with fire, with similar soil conditions, you know, obviously getting the same amounts of rain, being in the same location as well, limit the variables in that scenario, and maybe even adapt, you know, some of my methods moving forward. In the coming weeks, every single one of the properties that I manage, you know, every single trail pretty much needs to get mowed at this point in time. This should be the last mowing going into season, so need to get every single one of those properties to have a haircut, get the trails all looking good. If there is rain in the forecast, I'll try to do some timely mowings on those clover, get that one lush influx, you know, going into season, because that stuff's going to be a little bit more palatable for the deer and for the wildlife. So that's something I'm going to be watching closely as the weather forecast here in the coming weeks. And then one of the last things I'm going to focus on is that if you followed my story in the past, you know that I've done a lot of hanging hunts where I would like to get some permanent sets out. I have some stands sitting in my garage right now where they're not doing any good for me to just sit in the garage. So I want to make sure I get those out, especially if they're in time-tested areas or in locations where I've hunted a lot in the past. If I can get a permanent setup, especially with having an intern, having a cameraman with me, that's something that anytime you're having to hang true tree stands, you know, that can be quite the ordeal. So if I can limit that up and down the tree, I'm going to try to utilize that here in the coming weeks. Appreciate you guys joining this week on this week's episode of The Chase, and looking forward to just a few more days, and we'll be out in the tree stand soon.